guys, how's it going? I'm back with another 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. As you probably know by now, it's a series where I just talk about cool stuff that may be not on people's radars or maybe not be things, you know, everyone's familiar with. I hope lockdown is treating everyone relatively tolerably. It's getting a bit lighter here in the UK, but anyway, I'm not a news reporter, so without further ado, this is an all CD video, just because most of the LPs I bought recently are stuff I haven't got on LP, but by bands I've either had on these videos or larger bands. But anyway, first CD up is Vaultwraith, who actually have a newer album out, also on Hell's Headbangers, as this one was. Not that you can see the very dark purple logo on black, but yeah, Vaultwraith are a really cool band. They take black metal in its more kind of the way we all know it, mix it with some speed and thrash, and even some traditional heavy metal. I think the best way to compare this band to something would be quite like how Deceased play death metal, but with a lot of classic heavy metal creeping through, giving it a really nice horror vibe, very good Halloween-y kind of horror movie soundtrack type music. You know, if you like that very morbid, catchy, immersive kind of extreme metal, then Vaultwraith are definitely a band I think more people should be talking about, as we all love Deceased, so the black metal fans have a very valid equivalent alongside the likes of Denial of God from the Netherlands. Next up we have some doom metal, which I think it's been a little while since I've had some good doom on here. This is Stygian Crown. A few of these bits were sent to me, much like in the last video, by Sure Shot Works, so thanks to Jan. These are a band that were completely new to me when I stuck it on. I had to repurpose an old CD case just because when you get physical promos, often it's all the parts but not in a case. So yeah, this is not how the case would look if you buy this from the label or band. Just a side note. Yeah, Stygian Crown play very kind of traditional, epic, melodic and powerful doom metal. We've got great melodic vocal performance. You know, all this stuff, you know, maybe the Crypt Sermon, for example, people really like that. If if you're into those kinds of candle mass worshipping, big riffs, monolithic kind of sound, check out Stygian Crown. Just as a very pleasant surprise, as something I had never heard of. Now, another one of these releases, which I had heard of from one of the best underground labels, is Enevelde, which is on Territor Possessions from Norway. It's very characteristic of the Nidarosian black metal scene. So if you like those kinds of bands like Darvaza and Co, or Darvaza, however you say that one, Enevelde is very atmospheric. It's 4 tracks. So yeah, you've got, the album is called, I assume it's self-titled because there's not a secondary title on here. But yeah, it's the much more occult ritualistic side of Norwegian black metal. There's a lot of melody. It takes some sounds in the vein of Behexen and that kind of thing. So if you like that very incantation, not the band, the thing, kind of feel and a very natural kind of sound, then Enevelde is definitely something to check out. Really interesting release and nice and short, but without really feeling rushed at all. Next up, we just have some great kind of straightforward black and death metal band from either Sodomisery, as in, I don't know, something to do with sodomy, or a kind of compound, what you call it, where you stick 2 words together, of Sodom and Misery. So Sodomisery, Sodomisery. This is The Great Demise on Testimony Records, really cool label from Germany. Now, if you like the kind of black and death like Belphegor, the very just straight down the middle, you've got the black metal atmospherics and occultishness, the death metal brutality. This is really cool stuff, really tight musicianship, big production, very clean, not too rough around the edges, which sometimes for me I can find overly clean, but the songwriting is good. It doesn't feel weak in any moments or overly polished. Just maybe if you're thinking more in the vein of like Black Witchery, then sit this one out. But you know, if you like those kinds of bands like Belphegor and Co, Sodomisery are really good black and death metal. Next up, we have a really interesting one, something quite different, which is from Ashtar. This is Kuya, I assume. I'm not sure what they're from, where they're from. You know, dock me a point for research there. This is some nice Blackened doom metal. So if you think kind of bands like Eternus from Norway, it's got that kind of it's definitely black metal, but you've got those kind of doomy grooves and hooks that kind of, it gives it a real dimension. It's got quite a kind of an almost folky tinge to it as well, which actually is more fitting on the next release, which I'll be onto shortly. But you know, it's got a very kind of spiritually kind of feel, as much as I hate using the word spiritual in that context. But yeah, really good Blackened Doom stuff. Now for some Blackened Doom that gets way more folky, we have Velnias, which is, sorry, I completely forgot to mention the label, was Enevelde. And this one is also Enevelde. And yeah, this is Velnias. They play a lovely mix of blackened, folky doom metal. If you think bands like Primordial and Male Mortar from Ireland, that kind of slightly Celtic, doomy, eerie, it's just really good. It's definitely good walking in the forest music. So if that's something you like from black metal, for it to go well with woodlands, which many of us do, myself included, definitely give this one a listen. Very hypnotic, mesmerizing kind of record. It's stunning layout and production. It's one of the many records where I prefer the inside art to the cover art, but both look really cool. So yeah, definitely check out Velnias if you like some sort of more ancient feeling black metal, I guess. Now, for people who don't like it slow, who like fast ripping riffs, savage vocals, relentless drums, we have Toxik Death from Norway. Of course, these are very easily comparable to their countrymen Deathhammer and Aura Noir. So yeah, if you like that kind of blistering, old school, going back to the times where extreme metal was extreme metal and black or death more meant what lyrics it had, and speed, of course, is called Speed Metal Hell. They have a new album coming out on Dying Victims Productions. This one was on Demon Breed, which I recently reviewed. And if you want to check out my reviews, you can do so at natskog.wordpress.com. Of course, spelled the same as in my channel. Yeah, the new album is killer. This album is killer. And if, you know, you like those kinds of fast bands, like I've talked about Hellish a lot, they're one that I think is really cool. Those kind of like Chilean, Brazilian, those kinds of bands. And yeah, Norway has some really cool stuff. I think when people think of Norway and extreme metal, it's very easy to go Dark Throne and stuff and forget how good Norwegian death metal and kind of Black-Thrash stuff is. And Toxic Death are a very good example of that. Now we have some Finnish war metal from Front. This is the second release. They did, oh fuck, the name's completely gone from my head. But I think it has Iron in the title. They did a demo, and those are really good. Now this one pulls it back into a much more kind of focal approach to the songwriting. It's very stripped back and aggressive. So, you know, if you like stuff like Bestial Warlust, kind of very thrashy war metal, Front deliver that kind of just bestial, maniacal, necro extreme metal. It says Soundtrack for Burning the World, Volume 2. And they've nailed it. The artwork is one of those artworks that looks how it sounds. It's just a visceral assault on the senses. Once again, Finland just pummeling out the best extreme metal. This is on Iron Bonehead Productions, which is, of course, one of the greatest Black and Death labels from Germany. So yeah, if you like war metal sorry, I'm forgetting my words here. When it's warm like this, my brain just does not function right. But yeah, if you like stuff like Beharet, Bestial Warlust is mentioned, Blasphemy, check out Front. Absolutely fierce. Now for something a bit more different, I guess, if more in the vein of bands like Svartadauri and Mistheming and Magua. This is the new Enshadowed album, which is a Greek black metal band that don't sound like a Greek black metal band. So any thoughts of Rotting Christ, Varathrum, Necromantia, I was going to say Necrophagia then. This is how bad the heat affects my brain. Don't think that kind of bass-heavy, ritualistic kind of stuff. This is far more dissonant and experimental, a lot of melody that kind of jumps around. It's very enjoyable. It's about 35 minutes long, so it's not overkill. I've got some digipack strands coming off here, you know, where the card peels at the bottom. But yeah, if you like those kinds of Icelandic and Polish and, let me think of it. There's some German bands that definitely have that sound, but my brain has gone blank. But I'm sure someone will be kind enough to fill that in the comments for me. Yeah, Enshadowed is really good. This is their new album out on Odium Records. Polish label, although I think based in the UK. They handle like Black Altar and stuff, who I've talked about on here before. But yeah, if you're one of the many people who enjoy Mr. Ming, Maguire, Sinmara, that kind of stuff, then definitely check out Enshadowed, because they do not sound Greek, but they're excellent, and they are from Greece. And now probably the most well-known band of the video, but still I think the average metalhead maybe does not know them, which of course isn't a problem, and that's why these videos are here. We have Vomitor from Australia, massive classic band in the Australian Black and Death scene, you know, along with Bestial Warlust, Destroy 666, Nocturnal Graves, some of my favourite stuff from Down Under. This is the last full length, I believe, is maybe 3-4 years old, 2016, 17, something like that. On Hell's Headbangers, as we can see, just as unclearly as on the Vaultwraith CD. Apparently Hell's Headbangers liked making their logo dark in 2016 and such. But yeah, Vomitor, all their stuff's killer. Black-Thrash, all just malted into a speedy cacophony of just brutal heavy metal. And it's pretty damn catchy for that kind of stuff as well. It's not so much on the bestial side as it is just on the relentless speedy side. Killer hooks, fast. But yeah, very anthemic touches to some of the material that I love a lot. So yeah, that was 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. Of course, if you have heard any, then props to you. You have good taste, and if you haven't heard them, I hope you enjoy at least some of the recommendations and check out and support these fine bands and labels doing the most important thing and bringing the riff to the masses. Fuck me, I'm losing my train of thought here. My next video, I have like 8 things out of 10 kind of ready for, but most of them haven't arrived to my place yet. So we've got some cool stuff coming up. I am going to be doing more of the 10 out of 10 metal series, but I kind of made those videos. I put like 30-40 records in each one, so I'm like, I can't now do one with 4 records in it, so bear with me on that. Discography rankings, I'm just waiting for the bands that I really want to do that for to complete the collection. Revenge, I'm missing 2 Revenge albums, but they're probably going to be up there, stuff like that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you support these cool bands and labels and distros or whatever you're going to do. Keep it real, stay metal, and until next time, don't die of COVID.